Thank you. Please sit down, please. Thank you. It's good to be back here. It really is. I was a legislator in the 80s, and I sat in that seat where Catherine sat, because I represented District 2. But District 1 was our presiding officer, Greg Blair, so I sat in that seat. And then I took 16 years off and went around the corner and served as county clerk. And I came back, and I was elected to District 1, which included Shelter Island, South Old, Riverhead, and all of East, and half of Eastern, all of Eastern Brookhaven. And I remember that was my happiest. Because when you're a legislator, and I know this all, you're the only voice the communities you represent have in government. Yes, there's a county executive, but you're their voice, and I know that. And I always want to listen to all 18, and sometimes it takes a little time and patience, but I know how important it is to have a partnership. And I have to say, this is my 15th month in office. I served 15 months. And I feel blessed to have the partnership I have with the caliber of people and the concern here. You've all done such a great job, and it's a pleasure to work with you. And while we disagree from time to time, not too often. I've been here 15 months. You know how many vetoes I've issued of your resolutions? None. None. Because you all are doing a great job in representing your communities and forming a partnership with me. And it's so important. Because I look at the other levels of government. Look at Washington. Look at Albany. And there is that partnership. It's missing there. And it's replaced by partisanship. Local government, village, town, county, we have to deal with the pragmatic, and we have to make sure that things work. And I am blessed. We finished 2024. We got a lot of goals done. They gave me some notes that I should talk about. I just want to thank you for your partnership. As long as I sit as county executive, I understand I govern this county, but with 18 other people. And I count on you. I count on your input and your advice. I read your emails, or you send me emails. I read your emails. So do that, and I will work with you as you have worked with me. And I cannot say thank you enough for that. So let me go on and tell you that the state of the county is good. And its financials are good. But I have a little quote from St. Paul at my desk, and it goes, good, better, best. Never let it rest till good is better and better is best. So I want to come back with even better news next year, and I know working with you will get that done. Do we face challenges? Undoubtedly. Is the economic condition a little bit uncertain these days? No question about it. But I've been there before, and I've watched this happen, and we get through it all. I was a legislator in '87, which you may not remember, but the stock market did a major redress back then. And then I was back in the legislature in 2008 and 2009, and I don't have to tell you what happened then. Okay? And then I was supervisor in 2020 when we hit the pandemic. We've been through tough times before, and we've got through it, and we'll get through this. So I know as a team, and the great thing is we're all in a rowboat together. And the nice thing about this rowboat is everyone is rowing in the same direction. So thank you, because that's not true at every level of county government. Let me talk a little bit about the finances. We've had 4 bond upgradings this year, which says something about our financial state. We've done sound budgeting, and we work closely with the legislature, which, by the way, let me remind you, I'm going to submit my capital budget shortly. If any of you have capital budget projects, let me know. Leslie Kennedy just sent me her list, her laundry list yesterday, and as much as I can, I will try to include that. But let me reiterate a pledge I made when I became supervisor in 2012, and a pledge I said when I became county executive in 2024. No matter how tough times get, we will never pierce the tax cap. And I say that which means we're going to have to do some extraordinary budgeting. And not everyone's going to be happy, but we will do that. Last year, 8 of the 10 towns in Suffolk pierced the tax cap. Smithtown did not, Huntington did not, and Suffolk County did not. And we will not pierce the tax cap as long as I'm county executive. It's my job, with your help, to balance this budget and make sure we owe a responsibility to our taxpayers. And the other thing I said is we will get bond upgrades. We got 4 last year. I don't know how many we're going to get this year, but we're going to work on that, and we're going to try to pay down some of our debt. And we're going to try to settle some of the large lawsuits that are outstanding that the previous administration chose not to settle. And we are going to settle those. Let's talk about something else. It always struck me as odd that the county had a cybersecurity attack in September of 2022. Because at the time I was supervisor of the town of Brookhaven. We have cybersecurity insurance, and we had all the types of things to prevent that from happening, and that's why it did happen. That and a lot of good luck in the town of Brookhaven, but it happened here. And the previous administrations, before they left, spent about $27 million. Much of it, by the way, still unaccounted on this, that we're still looking to claw back some money for some spending that should not have taken place. But we have hired a chief information officer, and we have in partnership with the Homeland Security and Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, we have someone on staff, and we have a virtual with Dell. So we have belt and suspenders there. And we will continue to take steps to safeguard our infrastructure, our IT infrastructure. Let's talk about another large department, Department of Public Works. There isn't a legislator here that isn't knocking on their door for some help about something. And we want to help. We have to improve our roads. One of my biggest concerns is our infrastructure. It's been neglected for too long. Many of our buildings are not in great shape. I don't want to even mention our historic buildings. They're even worse. And I am going to start investing in Suffolk and in our infrastructure, in our roads, in our drainage, in our sewage. And we're going to work on things like County Road 39, which has the biggest traffic jam in Suffolk County, called the Trade Parade. We're going to work on the Smith Point Bridge, and we're going to address the problems that were just pointed out on the Ponquag Bridge. These are all major infrastructures that have problems. We've got to start dealing with them. We can't neglect our infrastructure because guess what? We can get away with it for a while. Who's going to pay the price? The price is the future. Our obligation as elected officials is to talk and to address the future. It is our obligation to do that. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to talk about sewers, because 70% of this county is on cesspools and septic tanks. We're working on sewers now in Kings Park and Smithtown, in Oakdale. We just had a meeting over there. South Huntington. We just gave $20 million to the town of Brookhaven to build a sewage treatment plant for Mastic Beach. We're doing a sewer study for Heartland. You know Heartland, Pilgrim State, for the industrial park and for the housing. And it will affect the college also, the Western campus. We're looking for a wastewater study for Montauk. Did I say? I said wastewater, right? They get nervous. So we're going to look at everything we can. But I'm going to make a challenge here. I was a strong supporter, as most of the people around this horseshoe were, of the state environmental bond issue for $4.2 billion. That man over there, raise your hand, Steve Engelbright, when he was in the assembly, worked hard. He was chairman of NCOM there in the assembly. He worked, got it passed. And I understand there was a representative from the governor's office in the audience. So, Governor, here's my challenge. For every dollar we invest as a county, invest in Suffolk from the environmental bond issue. And I'll direct all that money to sewers, because in the next 3.5 years, we're going to spend over $1 billion in Suffolk County on sewers. You know what? I'm going to give another challenge to our state and federal representatives. Believe it or not, a lot of people are still on well water. And believe it or not, those wells, as Catherine can tell you, are coming up contaminated. Imagine having to drink that water, or bathe your child in that water, or put formula in that water. We need a funding source, and the county will work with the state and the federal government to address contaminated water. It shouldn't be based on income. It should be based on health results from water quality. So not only in sewers, but let's invest in our water infrastructure. I just want to make that challenge to the state. That can also be an environmental bond expenditure. Match yours dollar for dollar. What other county is going to do that in this state? We will invest in Suffolk. So let me be even clearer for my good friends at Lightburg, PSC&G. After I get finished talking to them about having a plan for burying some of their lines over many, 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 many years, so that we are more resilient to the storms that are coming. And the storms are coming. I would also say this. Start improving your substations, because their substations are not adequate. When I was Brookhaven supervisor, we're closing the Brookhaven landfill. I wanted to put solar all over the landfill. Couldn't do it. Substation couldn't handle it. Now that I'm county executive, I've talked about solar up Suffolk, trying to encourage solar use. You know, as does Legislator Kennedy, Hop Park Industrial Park is the second largest industrial park in this country. You think they have a lot of flat roofs? You think that they could take solar on there? We're working with the IDA and others to come up with an incentive program to encourage industrial buildings, schools, and other public buildings that can structurally afford it to put solar on their rooftops. But guess what? The substations are inadequate. LIPA, spend the money, invest in substations. So that's my very clear message. Parks, we got one of the greatest park systems around. But unfortunately, there's some neglect that has taken place, and we need to end that neglect, and we need to invest in our parks. We are doing new accessible playgrounds at Mashut and Gardner's Park. We're doing a beach restoration at Mashut. We're doing vehicle access to Mauritius Inlet from the Burma Road on Smith Point. We're doing a new pavilion. It only burned down a couple years ago at Cupsog. We have two ocean beaches, Smith Point and Cupsog. And we're doing a new pavilion. It burnt down 4 years ago, and they haven't rebuilt the pavilion. You know when it burnt down, and I knew they weren't rebuilding it? I called up our former county executive. I was supervisor of the town. Cupsog is in Brookhaven town. I said, I'll buy it. Give me a price, I'll buy it. I'll rebuild the pavilion, and I'll charge half of what you're charging for that beach, and we'll make it a go. I didn't get a response. I will tell you this. Smith Point is going to be the site of the first All Suffolk Oyster Festival the third week in August. So we're going to promote our oyster growers, and we're going to talk about the good things that happen in Suffolk. And I don't want to forget this most of all. We're working on a funding source for our historic homes. We have over 100 historic homes and buildings in this county. Most of them are in a state of neglect and have been neglected. We are going to see that end. It's not going to happen overnight. You look at places throughout this county, and we have not invested. We preserve these buildings only to see them fall apart. And Leslie knows what I'm talking about. She just sent me an email with pictures. So, and you all have historic districts, buildings in your district. So we're going to work on that. Open space, I don't have to tell you. I'm going to support every open space initiative that comes forward. And furthermore, I am going to support every farmland development that comes forward. We were probably pretty close to being number one in the state of all the counties in agricultural produce in terms of dollars values. I don't want to see a slip. And since I'm talking about that, and those who live on the East End know, but we have farms all over this county. We're a very wealthy county by some measure. That doesn't mean everyone that's in our county is wealthy. No one in our county should go hungry, particularly children. And I want to find out if there's a better way to connect our farmers with our schools. So instead of farm to table, farm to school. So we can use our farms and our school districts, and we have a lot of them. We have 69 school districts in this county. That they can purchase farm products for school lunches. So we can have more nutritious lunches and we can support our farmers. And that's what we do. There's a synergy there that has to be worked on. And we have to work out those agreements. But I'm counting on you. I just want to give a shout out to our Veteran Service Agency. They do a great job. And I want to thank you all. We have the most veterans of any county in the state. There's 62 counties, we're number one. And we have the second most in the United States. God was shining down on us because the best weather day in March, not like today where it's cold and windy, no wind, a lot of sun, it hit 82 degrees in Hot Park, was our welcome home to our Vietnam vets. Thank you all for participating in that. Thank you all for helping with that. That was a great day to welcome people 50 years after that war had ended. So the scars of that war could be healed and all could be welcomed home. DSS, our largest department. We're making great strides. In one short year, Suffolk County went from one of the worst to being the best in the state for processing SNAP applications, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That's food stamps for hungry people. I am so proud of that because when I heard that we were doing so badly, I made that a priority, as did the new leadership. As you know, we got new leadership after the DA's grand jury report. We had an immediate change in social service commissioners who have term limits. They resigned, and we were able to bring in new leadership. I think Dr. Imhoff is doing a great job, by the way. And the state has reported that Suffolk County has made substantial improvements in all areas and in many categories that they judge us on. we're at 100% compliance. And we're going to be there. Remember, good, better, best. I want to be the best. There's an important mandate for us to protect our children. And there's nothing more important. And CPS, and we did a blind removal policy that we put into effect last fall. And we're looking for other improvements and reforms. And we need some of those reforms to be made by our colleagues at the state level. And the DA has talked about that in his grand jury report. And I have supported that and will continue. Unfortunately, those have not passed. And I will continue to urge passage of these reforms so that we can continue to protect our children. It's important. I'm very proud of some of the accomplishments made by the DS Department of Social Service staff. They're doing a great job, but I can tell you there's more that needs to be done. And I need to hear from all of you because I know that you all take an interest in this and in your constituents that DSS serve. So, with your help, we will continue to reform, improve, good, better, best. Public safety. Let me talk about that. I would be remiss if I did not mention and thank 17 legislators who voted for the PBA contract. Thank you. And the 18th that's missing, I want to send my best to legislator Sammy Gonzalez. I know he's been ill and in the hospital. And I want to say, Sammy, we're all rooting for you. God willing, you return to good health and come back and represent your district. I know he works very hard at doing that, and I wish him the best. But thank you for the PBA contract, because I think that was an important contract. As you know, all county contracts came due the minute I took office. So, thank you for my predecessors. We are negotiating. We are negotiating with all of our employees, and the one thing I do want to do is provide a fair contract and make sure that we can retain and recruit people to county service. It is a noble service. So I will try, with your help and your guidance, to put forward contracts that are fair and just, and remember the great service that our employees do. So thank you for that. Now, as you know, when I came into office, there was a lot of vacancies in our police department and with our detectives. We've added 220 police officers, and while that sounds like a lot, we have a lot of police officers who are retiring in the future. After 2 years, this will probably net out about 95. Okay. And detectives, we've added detectives and administrators as well. I've launched, as you know, a permanent task force to combat street racing and takeovers. And some of you have gone to those press conferences and seen the cars that we've seized and some of the things that have happened. And I'm thinking of Brandon, the police officer that was almost killed in one of those street races that took place on the expressway. But this week, we are adding more patrol officers to our highway unit to improve road safety. And we will add even more this summer, because one of the major concerns of constituents is the fact that sometimes they have to take their life into their own hands when they get on one of our highways, be it a state highway or county highway or even local roads. So we are going to be putting more patrols out on roads. We just added 9 already to the highway patrol unit, and we're going to be adding more for the summer months to make sure that when you get on the highway, you don't have to take your life into your own hands, because it will be safer. You talk about public safety, I got to tell you, we got a great DA, a fantastic guy, who knows the meaning of justice and knows what's fair and what's not. I stand with him in opposing dangerous proposals in Albany, like the Elder Patrol bill, that would let Colin Ferguson out on parole. I stand with him in opposing the Fair and Timely Parole Act. I stand with him on changing the discovery requirements, which allows a lot of cases to be dismissed. I stand with him on bail reform. So I will work with our district attorney, and I hope he can find some support amongst you to join with him in doing things that are for the public's safety, because we need to be safe. So I fully support the district attorney. I'm checking my watch, unlike Joe Biden, because I want to be mindful of your time. So I don't want to do anything out of the ordinary. But I do want to talk about another problem, and that's the opioid crisis that we face, and the drug crisis, and the drugs come on. You know, you can talk about the national government, and we can have a debate about all their policies and stuff like that, but closing the drug trade from across the southern border is a good thing. We want to see less drugs coming into this country. And I know Narcan is great because it saves lives, but saving lives is not enough. We need to provide more treatment, particularly after potential overdose, because we'll never win this war. And I need your help in doing that. I'm going to ask the legislature to work with me on reforming the opioid fund distribution and review process. This was rolled out without guidelines. Some of these firms, not-for-profits, who wanted to do the right thing, got money. And then they submitted claims to our comptroller, who used to sit here with me. And he went right by the book and started to reject them. We have to ensure and work together as a legislature with the controller, with my office, to get this out of the way. Rounds 1 and 2, get out of the way. Boom. And we have to ensure that every dollar that goes to an organization will provide services and can show proof of their work and justify their funding. So I've asked the controller and for you to work with them to put together a little booklet on the do's and don'ts. If you get this funding, if you're a not-for-profit and you're applying, how to apply for it, and the do's and don'ts of what you do with county money, so that you don't run into a buzzsaw and you don't get your claims rejected and your vouchers turned back. We don't want to see that. I want to see this money spent. I want to see it spent on education. I want to spend on treatment, and I want it spent on prevention. So I want to see this money out there, and I need your help to do that. I will work with our county controller to get this done, because I want to get the third round of funding out by this summer. And let me tell you, here are some agencies that got no funding that I thought should get some funding, that already have plans drawn up, that won't have the problems with their vouchers, because they do it now. Police department got no money. Medical examiner buried 400 people from overdoses, got no money. Probation department, sheriff's office. How about the health department? How about the social service department? All those county departments in the previous administration got $0. I want to make sure that not only our not-for-profits get money, but the county agencies that can best handle this, that have a plan. You'll see all the plans, and I want you involved completely in the plans, and I need your advice. Get funded. And I need to also make sure that these agencies know what they have to do, what they can do, what they can't do, and the proper things to do. Look, I could go on, but I'm going to be like Joe Biden, check my watch, and I know my time is up. So, look, we have challenges ahead. I've been there before. I've been in challenging times. You are the wind to my sail. I can't lead without you. I need your partnership, and you've been very generous, and you've given it to me. And I will work with all of you and listen to all of you as much as my time can give, and listen to your concerns. I know you're the only voice for your district, and I want to hear that voice, because together, we are Suffolk. United, we are Suffolk. So let's stand as we have stood, together. Let's solve the problems that confront us. Let's do what needs to be done. I'm going to leave you with a little phrase in Spanish. Vaya con Dios.